So our next unit is sound. So really, we're going to spend most of our time here on light energy. Okay, that's more important for what we need to cover. But in order to introduce light, we have to talk a little bit about sound as well. So if you remember back when we talked about the law of conservation of matter and energy, we said that all things in the universe is made of two things, matter and energy. Sound and light are two forms of what? Yeah, two forms of energy. Okay. So sound and light are types of energy, but they have some important differences. So we'll start a little bit by talking about sound, and then we'll move on and talk a little bit about light and how light is different. So first off, we have different types of waves that we talk about.
Well, I have a question. So you know in Monster Inc. how they use like screens to like power their whole thing?
I don't know that, no.
Yeah, you
mean the, yeah.
So wait, is that possible in real life? If you scream into something, it can like light up?
I mean, sound energy can be used to generate small amounts of electricity. Anytime, because sound energy involves moving molecules. And moving molecules can move a diaphragm back and forth, which can then move, anytime you have movement, you can use that movement to generate electricity. So I guess somewhat. All right, so let's talk first about how sound moves. I have here a slinky-ish device.
Oh, fun.
Okay, Victoria, grab that under that, please.
What?
No, hold it on the desk, please.
Oh,
on the desk. On the desk, please. Stretch it out. No, on the top desk, please, Victoria.
Victoria.
All right. Now let's see. Hold that. So this is a spring. Slinky is a spring. But if you take this, if you watch carefully, okay, if I compress the spring and then let go,
Whoa.
can you see it travel the length of the spring?
Yeah.
It's fast.
It came back and forth.
Yes. And when it reaches the end,
It bounced back.
the compression returns. Okay. The spring has this wave. This is a type of wave. Okay. It's not a wave like you imagine the ocean moving up and down. This is called a compressional wave, where you have some molecules being compressed and then expanding. And so that compression travels down the spring. Now, does this metal coil travel from here down to there and back? No, it's not this actual material that's moving, but it's the compression that moves along the spring. So that's what we call a compressional wave. Okay? The compression, or where the molecules get squeezed, travels along the spring, okay, from one end to the other. And it's the compression that moves, but it's not actually the coils. It's not the molecules that are moving. They just compress and then return back to their original position. And this is how sound is transmitted. As I'm speaking right now, my vocal cords are compressing the air inside of my throat. Okay? And those compressions then leave my mouth, traveling outward in all directions, and the air in this room gets compressed, and those compressions move. They eventually reach your eardrum. When they reach your eardrum, the compressions cause your eardrum to move. The movement of your eardrum is transmitted into electrical impulses on neurons into your brain, which you can then interpret those vibrations to be my voice, and then use your brain to hear the words that I'm saying. So those are compressional waves. That's how sound travels. It's caused by the vibration of matter. I forget what the movie was. Could have been Aliens. The subtitle or the tagline to the movie was, "In space, nobody could hear you scream."
Oh yeah, it's Aliens.
Is it Aliens?
Yeah, just Alien.
Okay, Alien, the original. So in space, no one can hear you scream. Is that true?
No. No, I don't know.
There is no sound in space. Why? Because there are virtually no molecules to vibrate. In order for sound, bless you, for sound to be heard, you need molecules vibrating. When we talk about a compressional wave like I was just showing you, there's two parts to that wave. The part where the molecules compress, that's the compression, and then they stretch out. That stretching out portion is called the rarefaction. Okay? Yeah, you might not have that. And that's okay, you could draw it in there, loop, loop, loop. And that's how sound travels.
So,
all sound is created by vibrating molecules. Okay? If you hit a tuning fork, it starts moving, vibrating molecules in the air, which eventually vibrate molecules next to them. And that propagates until it reaches your ear.
So, rarefaction is the first one?
Yeah, the spread out area, the expanded area, and then the compression is where those coils or where the air molecules get closer together. Another word for these compressional waves are longitudinal waves. Okay? Longitudinal waves are things like sound or that spring. And the compression travels outward in all directions. So as I speak, even though you're behind me, you can still hear my voice. Okay? Sound travels outward in all directions because the molecules in all directions start vibrating. In compressional waves, the molecules actually vibrate parallel to the direction of the wave. So the molecules are vibrating in the same direction the wave is traveling. When we talk about a wave, a compressional wave, Victoria, can you grab that under that? We can talk about the frequency of the wave. Part of that. And so you could make these compressions travel slowly, just one every once in a while, or if you do it more frequently, you could start those moving more quickly. Frequency is how many of those waves, the number of compressions that arrive each second. No. And the faster that something vibrates, the greater the frequency. So faster the source vibrates, the higher the frequency. And we have units we use for frequency. They're called hertz.
You know how like if you go really, really high pitch, like we can't hear it, but like rodents can? Why is that?
Because different organisms have different abilities to sense different frequencies of sound. In fact, there's, if you've ever heard the mosquito, well,
The mosquito app?
the mosquito ringtone.
No.
All right, so there's this sound. It's a very high frequency sound. And as a person gets older, you could stop. We'll stop here for today, but I want to tell you about this. As a person gets older, their ability to hear high frequency sounds decreases. And so this high frequency sound often can be heard by young people, such as me and you guys. But older people sometimes have lost the ability to actually hear this tone. So let me play it.
Oh,